Hi my friends, welcome to the channel English Professionally, and this video course is 630 English sentences to speak English fluently and correctly. So you see that this course isn't only for speaking, it's also for grammar too, if you want to speak English without any mistakes at all. So yeah, for more efficiency you can listen and repeat. He watched this lesson. He invested too little money. They accused him of a very serious crime. He studied abroad. I expressed my point of view. I prepared for the exam. The house belonged to them. I reached an advanced level. He earned more than $5,000. She often watched TV. He owned this house. She really liked this place. This house belonged to her. She washed up the dishes. I closed the window. He always believed her. We faced some unexpected problems. They destroyed the village. He remembered it too late. I parked near this place. This example inspired me. I hurried up. She suggested going to the cinema. I passed such a difficult exam. I hated discussing it. It happened to my family. We communicated with each other from time to time. He insisted on doing it. She danced professionally. He reacted to it very strangely. She often visited her grandmother. I signed those two contracts. I opened the door. I prepared for these exams. We walked to the park, or we went to the park on foot. He trusted his business partner. The lesson lasted for about an hour. She needed to get in touch with us. They asked us a couple of questions. I revised this lesson one more time. I revised all the lessons in this playlist. He deserved respect. She partly agreed with me. I disagreed with them for no reason. Or I didn't agree with them for no reason. I expressed my ideas. I managed to improve my grammar. I promised to do it. They disappeared suddenly. He prayed to saints. He closed the door. They produced wine. I answered all her questions. They hurried up. I continued learning English here. This house belonged to him. He wished me good luck. I parked not far from here. They competed with this company. His offer sounded very interesting. We analyzed everything very thoroughly. He married her. I perfectly realized it. She apologized for everything. He invested all his money. We solved all these problems. He remained my friend. I passed the exam. It depended on us. We hated doing it. He added two very important things. He repeated the sentence. We concentrated on these problems. He confirmed the time of our meeting. He repaired this chair. She divided our group into 3 parts. He appeared suddenly. I deleted this comment by mistake. I studied abroad. He interrupted me. I disagreed with him, or I didn't agree with him. It attracted our attention immediately, or it attracted our attention at once. He often prayed in the morning and in the evening. Our teacher influenced me greatly. I remembered one very important thing. We analyzed everything very thoroughly. I decided to continue watching this playlist. We used his computer every day. I prepared for the test. She described the situation. They informed us of this problem. They danced together. He entered the building. They controlled him. He turned and smiled at her. They killed innocent people. The police arrested them. They punished the criminals. They destroyed the building. He called her again. It surprised us greatly. She often called me to discuss different things. I translated it from Russian into English. So, for example, you can say I translated it from Spanish into English. So it could be any language. So I revised this lesson. We remained friends. He always supported us. I included these examples. He prayed to God. I walked to work, or I went to work on foot. You explain it very clearly. They shared this information with us. We thanked him for everything. It changed my opinion. He created a new theory. They provided excellent conditions. He jumped very high. He experienced so many difficulties. You calculated it incorrectly. I shared my knowledge with you. He asked me a couple of questions. He smoked quite rarely, or he smoked quite seldom. The police arrested this thief. We recorded his speech. He published several books. He ignored their questions. I finished watching this video. He earned this money. She watched her face. He recorded so many lessons. The police arrested this criminal. They accused him of this crime. They sometimes danced together. He translated this document from English into Russian. I added a very important thing. They suggested going to the cinema. He married her last year. This problem really worried me. We trained very intensively. She entered this university. I described this problem. He tried to help her, but without success. Her boss often criticized her. We participated in the championship, or we took part in the championship. We signed a very important contract. They arrested those criminals. He borrowed more money. I achieved this aim at last. I parked there. She cried suddenly. I really hated doing it. I closed the door. He promised to keep his word. He published his book. I decided not to waste money. He described her appearance. They deleted this comment. He regretted it later. I saved this document. I concentrated on this issue. He failed his last exam. He smoked very rarely. He smoked very seldom. We adapted to these conditions. The teacher explained it to us. I compared these two methods. I decided not to go there. I insisted on it. We considered it very important. The lesson lasted for 2 hours. He washed his hands. I managed to improve my pronunciation significantly, or I managed to improve my pronunciation greatly, or considerably. We concentrated on this subject. I preferred to stay at home. She reached this level soon. The lesson lasted for an hour. He divided us into 2 groups. I decided to do it later. I waited for him for 2 hours, or you can say for half an hour, for about 20 minutes. I enjoyed doing it. I practiced English there. I remembered what to say. The teacher pointed at our mistakes. He knocked at the door, or you can also say he knocked on the door. The boy interrupted her. I needed to know it. He asked me a very interesting question. We faced a very big problem. She guessed the correct answer, or she guessed the right answer. He owned this flat. I remembered it at last. I followed your advice. They provided these conditions. I divided it into 3 parts. I started learning English 2 years ago. He prayed to God. I ordered it online from time to time. He ordered him to defend them. I participated in this competition, or you can say I take part in this competition. We translated it into English. I managed to improve my speaking. I missed the bus. We lived very far from that place. She tested their knowledge. It destroyed our plans. The boys laughed at her. We competed with a very famous company, or with a very well-known company. I reached a strong advanced level. I communicated with different people from other countries or cities. We hurried up not to miss the bus. He smiled at her. It often rained there. He wasted time. I washed my face, then I called her. Or you can say I washed my face, after that I called her. I created this channel 2 years ago. I celebrated my birthday. We noticed it unexpectedly, or we noticed it at last. They compared their results. His wife missed him. They appeared unexpectedly. It changed my attitude to them, or you can say it changed my attitude towards them. He complained about that situation. He repeated his words. He washed himself. The lesson lasted for more than 20 minutes. Okay. I looked at them. I practiced English daily. They informed us of this accident. I liked all these examples. I concentrated on this topic. We played football together. He wasted time. It happened to me. They offered us something special. I opened the window. Everything depended on him. She married him. He decided not to do it. The police arrested him. He invited us to his birthday. She missed that chance. They introduced me to them. I improved my English considerably, or significantly, thanks to this channel. I packed this parcel. She cooked breakfast, lunch, dinner. He recommended this website to us. He reacted to it very strangely. I turned on the computer, or you can say I switched on the computer. He deserved it. We analyzed this report. I realized it only later. We revised these rules. This firm belonged to him. I managed to improve my reading. She wasted money. He imagined different things. He advised him to do it. We expected the same. The police arrested this criminal yesterday. We refused to take their offer. We considered it very important. Okay? I concentrated on this problem. She experienced a very strange feeling. She sometimes cried. His speech inspired us. She admired this singer. I enjoyed spending time there. I discussed this problem with them. She invited us to that party. She practiced English yesterday. I often confused these words, or I often mixed up these words. He introduced me to his wife. He often confused these expressions, or he often mixed up these expressions. They lived happily. He returned home too late, or he returned home after midnight, or you can say he came back home too late or after midnight. I remembered how to do it. He packed his clothes. We practiced English. We practiced speaking English. It surprised us a lot. She really loved him. They loved each other. I wished him all the best. He missed such a unique opportunity. They required more experience. I answered these questions. It happened to us. She preferred not to mention it. This news surprised us. She pointed at my mistakes. I revised your lessons one more time. We expected these results. She failed the test to our surprise. We competed with several big companies. It changed my point of view. I agreed with him. She cooked a cake. It often rained in that place or area. I continued watching these lessons. They talked for hours. I decided to do it. They reacted to it very strangely. I decided not to go to that party. It developed my professional skills. They often had a rest together, or they often relaxed together. I communicated with different people. It surprised us greatly. The boys behaved well. I remained calm. They discovered this continent. I returned home, or I came back home. He died young. It often snowed in this area. He stopped smoking, or he gave up smoking. He stopped near the shop. We faced some serious problems. His offer sounded really strange. They delivered this parcel to me. It seemed so interesting. I needed to get in touch with her. His boss often criticized them. She failed this test. He ignored her words. I filled in the form. He celebrated his birthday. I promised to check everything. She often listened to classical music, or she often listened to the radio. We divided it into 5 parts. I mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting. The flat belonged to her. It attracted new clients. I studied very hard. He pointed at my mistakes. I confirmed the date of our meeting. The news shocked everyone. He ordered the soldiers to do it. I opened the box. He often confused these words and expressions. I faced very serious difficulties. He ordered them to do it. I focused on this problem. They accused him of this crime. We tended to consider it unimportant. I parked there. She deserved this result. He checked my work. We usually checked it there. She cried to our surprise. I visited her the day before yesterday. He calculated the costs. I parked very far from here. She washed up the dishes. They appeared and then they disappeared. It developed our abilities. I experienced a very unusual feeling. He reached such a high level. They remained friends. She published this article. I hated getting up so early. My friends advised me not to do it. I reached this level. He earned $2,000 monthly. He promised to finish it. She divided their group into 3 parts. I started learning English here with great pleasure. I mentioned it at the end of the meeting. I checked everything. They moved to America. He managed this business. I used the internet almost every day. He discovered this planet. I jumped high. He explained it to us. His wife insisted on it. Our boss insisted on doing it. I really liked your lessons. I expected much more. The result depended on each of us. He discovered America. He apologized for his rude behavior. He tried to get that job, but without success. I communicated with people from other countries. She smiled at us. I packed this parcel. I analyzed these figures. I hoped to win. I improved my grammar greatly. I often confused these phrases. She suggested going to the park. I tended to think so. So, it's an expression, so to be inclined to do something, and we can also say I was inclined to think so. Next, they celebrated their anniversary. He managed to earn this money. We tended to think so. I mentioned it in the beginning. It shocked each of them. That man saved her life. I managed to improve my writing. I turned off the radio, or I switched off the radio. They noticed our absence. My colleagues focused on this problem. I turned off the light, or I switched off the light. We trusted him completely. He prayed to God. They imagined different things. She really loved him. I answered this question. I parked near this place. He translated it into English. He complained about that problem. This flat belonged to him. I tried to learn English in a month, but without success. This business belonged to him. We started living there. I wished him good luck. My cousin regretted it. It developed our professional skills. They included her name. The boy behaved very strangely. My friends recommended this channel to me. They laughed at her. I wanted to correct my mistakes. I often ordered clothes online. I received this letter, or I got this letter. I wished him happiness. I finished doing it. He prayed to the saint. The lecture lasted for 2 hours. He returned, or he came back. They disappeared unexpectedly. He borrowed more than $2,000. I deleted this file by mistake. I participated in this tournament. or I took part in this tournament. I solved such a difficult task. I improved my speaking considerably, or improved my speaking significantly. She achieved her aim. He washed his hands. He washed his face. You explained everything very well. He owned this house. He refused to pay for it. He usually prayed in the morning and in the evening. My teacher advised me to do it. He crossed the street. I passed the test. We often traveled. I managed to do it. I expressed my opinion. I really liked all your lessons. I turned back. She died last year. He imagined strange things. I finished working on that project. He really had a rest in the evening, or he really relaxed in the evening. She started learning English 3 years ago. We moved to England. They tested our knowledge. They delivered the goods on time. The boy interrupted her unexpectedly. I hoped to get a job. He recorded a very interesting lesson. He divided us into 3 groups. We trained these skills. She switched on the light, or she turned on the light. The police arrested this thief. I often listened to music. We solved this problem at last. I expressed my personal point of view. I practiced English. I entered a very prestigious university. The enemy attacked them. It really worried me. His behavior seemed very suspicious. Everyone agreed with us. He suggested going there. The criminals disappeared. This house belonged to him. I entered this university. They appeared suddenly. I managed to improve my listening. They discovered this continent. I crossed the street there. He invested all his money. We often used the internet there. I improved my grammar a lot. I compared these results. He believed her. I really liked this idea. They stayed at home the day before yesterday. I filled in the documents. We concentrated on the following problems. That job required more skills. My best friend recommended this channel to me. I added one very important thing. I translated all the text. I really liked that movie. We controlled the workers. We filled in this form. He considered it unimportant. She missed that opportunity. We recorded his speech. She calculated it incorrectly. We calculated all the costs. They signed this document. His words seemed really strange. We thanked them for help. The lesson lasted for half an hour. I mentioned it during our conversation. I trained so intensively. It happened by accident, or it happened accidentally. I washed myself. We checked in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I ordered this thing online. He considered this victory very important. I mentioned it in the end. I saved this file. Everything remained the same. He recommended this book to me. I received this email, or I got this email. I enjoyed listening to it. I wanted to help you. That flat belonged to him. He parked there. He repaired the wheel. I compared these 2 methods. We discussed everything. He confirmed his decision. He jumped over the fence. He described her appearance. The director supported our decision. I refused to take the offer. I answered the following questions. This business belonged to him. You helped me a lot. He interrupted our conversation or he interrupted our talk. My parents advised me not to do it. He denied his guilt. I preferred to stay at home. He apologized for his behavior. I admired this person. He invited us to that meeting. We stayed in Russia. I noticed it too late. He inspired me. I smiled at him. I joined them with great pleasure. It sounded interesting. We expected something special. She owned this business. This company delivered it yesterday. He shared this secret with us. It often rained in this area. We worked very hard to pay for it. Her boyfriend regretted it later. I recorded everything. We analyzed this report. I managed to improve my grammar greatly. She often traveled with her parents. Everything seemed very strange. He invested such a big sum of money. It attracted our attention. Two things worried me. She prepared for this test. He repeated that sentence. I revised his last videos. I checked out at 6 o'clock in the evening. You answered it correctly. It required more professionalism. He owned this business. He denied all the accusations. He realized it only later. I enjoyed learning English there. I followed your recommendation. She remained calm. We resolved this conflict. They calculated all the costs. I wished them health. One man knocked at the door. She watched herself. He informed me of these problems. It depended on me. It often snowed there. I participated in this competition, or I took part in this competition. He supported this decision. They always helped me. The boys behaved very badly. She cooked something very tasty, or she cooked something delicious. The police arrested him. He repaired his bike. Her husband regretted it. They informed us of this problem. I noticed it only yesterday. They produced very expensive goods. They looked at her. I often confused these expressions. They provided very good conditions. My brother knocked at the door. Or my brother knocked on the door, it's also possible. Okay, next. I decided not to go there. She cooked a very tasty cake, or she cooked a very tasty pie. He admired her beauty. She owned this flat. It required more efforts. I remembered what to say, or I remembered how to do it. I remembered how to say it better. They informed us of these difficulties. We often waited for them. They offered me a well-paid job. It often snowed there. He denied that fact. We worked very hard. We continued watching this playlist. He saved her life. We tried to analyze everything very thoroughly. This event influenced me. She adapted to the situation. He followed my advice. I passed a very difficult exam. It shocked everyone. They killed him. We played badminton yesterday. He owned this firm. We stopped near that supermarket. He prayed to different saints. I received this message, or I got this message. I introduced him to them. We included his name. He usually had a rest in the evening, or he relaxed in the evening. The authorities resolved this conflict. I managed to solve a very difficult task. I turned on the computer, or I switched on the computer. I preferred to follow his advice. I promised not to do it. They trusted each other completely. He joined them with great pleasure. He discovered America. We guessed the correct answer. He recommended it to us. She denied her guilt. It happened suddenly. It happened so unexpectedly. This channel helped me improve my English greatly. This playlist really helped me realize my mistakes, or this playlist really helped me understand my mistakes. Okay, my friends, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for your attention. So I really hope that it's a great course if you're really serious about improving your speaking and grammar as well. Thank you, my friends. Contracts. I opened the door. I prepared for these exams. We walked to the park, or we went to the park on foot. He trusted his business partner. The lesson lasted for about an hour. She needed to get in touch with us. They asked us a couple of questions. I revised this lesson one more time. I revised all the lessons in this playlist. He deserved respect. She partly agreed with me. I disagreed with them for no reason. Or I didn't agree with them for no reason. I expressed my ideas. I managed to improve my grammar. I promised to do it. They disappeared suddenly. He prayed to saints. He closed the door. They produced wine. I answered all her questions. They hurried up. I continued learning English here. This house belonged to him. He wished me good luck. I parked not far from here. They competed with this company. His offer sounded very interesting. We analyzed everything. Hi my friends, welcome to the channel English Professionally, and this video course is 630 English sentences to speak English fluently and correctly. So you see that this course isn't only for speaking, it's also for grammar too, if you want to speak English without any mistakes at all. So yeah, for more efficiency you can listen and repeat. He watched this lesson. He invested too little money. They accused him of a very serious crime. He studied abroad. I expressed my point of view. I prepared for the exam. The house belonged to them. I reached an advanced level. He earned more than $5,000. She often watched TV. He owned this house. She really liked this place. This house belonged to her. She washed up the dishes. I closed the window. He always believed her. We faced some unexpected problems. They destroyed the village. He remembered it too late. I parked near this place. This example inspired me. I hurried up. She suggested going to the cinema. I passed such a difficult exam. I hated discussing it. It happened to my family. We communicated with each other from time to time. He insisted on doing it. She danced professionally. He reacted to it very strangely. She often visited her grandmother. I signed those two